G'day guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I will be finally answering a question that I get asked multiple times a day on different sources like my Instagram, my YouTube page. This question comes up every single day, multiple times a day, and I'm ready to finally today put an end to this discussion. And the question that I get asked is, should I buy the Garmin R10 or should I buy the MLM2PRO? And I'm happy to answer that question now. The launch monitor you should buy, the best sub $1,000 launch monitor is the Alright guys, like I said, today we're going to talk about the MLM2PRO and the Garmin R10. I will have an answer for you at the end of this video, which launch monitor I believe is the best. We're going to kick things off today talking about the Garmin R10. We're going to go through all the pros, all the cons of both launch monitors. I'm not sponsored by either of these companies. I bought both of these launch monitors with my own money, and so therefore I can give you an honest opinion and an honest review of what I believe the best launch monitor is. So without further ado, let's jump in and let's talk about the Garmin R10. So the Garmin R10 was an absolute game changer when it came into the market, and it opened up the market for everybody. So instead of having a launch monitor like the SkyTrack or the Mevo Plus being your only two options, now you had a unit that was sub $1,000 and it opened up sim golf and home golf and personal launch monitors to everyone. And what this launch monitor gave you was ball data and club data. So not only were you getting a sub $1,000 launch monitor, but now you're getting club data and ball data included in that. So talking about the hardware itself, the hardware is a single radar. So it's much like the early versions of TrackMan, it's a single Doppler radar. So there are some limitations with this, and I will talk about the cons and the limitations later in the video, but just know the hardware is a single radar, which they managed to pack into quite a small little footprint. The Garmin R10 is quite small. It's a lot smaller than the Rapsodo MLM2PRO, and the actual construction, the actual hardware, it feels like a quality device when you hold it. Talking about subscription costs. So the Garmin R10 does have a subscription option. However, it's not really needed, and I'll talk about why in a second. But the subscription costs in the US, it's $10 a month, or $100 a year. I love that you get this monthly option. It does make it a lot more affordable for everybody. However, for me personally, I just like the upfront payment. So what does that subscription get you? So the Garmin subscription is going to give you access to Home T Hero, which has over 42,000 courses on there. Let's have a look at them. So jumping into the app, you can see Home T Hero there at the top. Without the subscription, you're going to have access to driving range. So the driving range here, if you go start, you do get multiple driving ranges. You get 4 of them to choose from. So without the subscription, you will have access to this. Home T Hero at the top, you need the subscription to have access to Home T Hero. Let's jump in and have a look at that. So Home T Hero, it says choose for more than 42,000 courses, invite your friends to play along. Let's go play now. All of these courses look great. And they've got undulation, they feel like a golf course when you play them. I've done multiple videos on these. These courses are really good and a lot of fun to play. If you want to know more about Home T Hero courses, there's a guy that does videos on YouTube, Rocket Golf. I'll link his channel in the description. He plays Home T Hero a lot on his channel. I've versed him in a match before. I got the win, and remember that Rocket, I did get that win. But he basically shows off all of these courses, and they are really good and a lot of fun to play. You also get access to the weekly tournament as well. So with the subscription, you can jump in and play the weekly tournament. You don't get anything when you win these tournaments. However, it's just fun, and it just gives you just something to actually play in, and it puts a bit more pressure on your round. They do have the leaderboards as well, and they email the winners, and it's really good. The tournaments are fun to play in. One of the best things about the Garmin R10 and the subscription is there's no paywalls. And what I mean by paywalls is the Garmin R10 is not saying, hey, you can't play third-party applications if you don't pay our subscription. The other thing is, all of the data that you get from the Garmin R10, whether you have the subscription or not, you're still going to get the same data. So they're not restricting metrics or data from you because you don't pay the subscription, which is absolutely fantastic and I think is a really good way to go about things. Looking at some of the third-party applications that have official integration, you get E6 Connect, Awesome Golf, and the Golf Club 2019. You do get 5 free courses and the driving ranges on E6. Now, it is an iOS license, so you have to have an iOS device to be able to play this for free, but you do get 5 free courses and those practice facilities. I have shown these off in other videos as well. The other thing with this is the connection from the R10 to your device is extremely stable. And all these third-party applications, they just work. And I've never had any issues with connectivity going into third-party applications. Okay, so let's go back. We're going to select driving ranges, and I'm going to head over to one of the ranges. So within the driving ranges, you get a distance range, which is basically just a flat grid. You get Crooked Creek driving range, which is kind of like a target range. You get Green Valley, which again is a target range, and you get Palm Island. So we'll jump in and play Palm Island. We'll set the distance from the R10. So talking about distances, so the Garmin R10 requires 6 foot as a minimum from the Garmin to your ball, and then 8 foot from ball to screen as a minimum. I've found that having the device 6 foot from the ball and then maximizing my distance from ball to screen is the best way to go about things, because it gives the Garmin a bit more time to read the ball. However, I have done a video that shows that the Garmin does give accurate data using even shorter than the recommended ranges. For weather, we'll just go my location. It is quite cold outside today. Cool. And this is the range that you're met with. Now, another good thing about the Garmin application, you get landscape mode. So all I have to do is simply click landscape mode. Boom, we're in landscape mode. This is a really good feature, and I don't know why other applications don't have this. So you've got a couple of different views. I will say I wish this view was a bit more up because it's looking a bit too flat for me. So if you click on the little flag just left of the yardage, it'll give you a top-down bird's eye view. You can pinch and zoom in, and then we can select a green that we want to hit towards. So we'll go towards this 114-yard hole, and then we'll go back to the view. Okay, so before I hit any shots, I want to talk about the Titleist RCT Ball. And this was one of the things that the Garmin brought in probably about a year after launch. They partnered with the RCT Ball, Titleist RCT Ball, to give accurate spin readings indoors. I want to say the RCT Ball, and I want to make this completely clear, the RCT Ball improves backspin numbers. The RCT Ball does not improve spin axis. It does not help with spin axis in any way. It does give incredibly accurate backspin numbers, and I've compared it again to my Foresight GC2 and my Rapsodo. It gives incredible spin numbers. The backspin numbers are perfect using the RCT Ball. And that's because using an RCT Ball, it can actually calculate the spin rather than estimate the spin. So if you're gonna get a Garmin R10 and you want accurate distances, I highly recommend buying the Titleist RCT golf balls to give you accurate distances. And that's because the backspin is going to actually affect your carry distances. You can use a metallic dot. However, I've found in my testing that the metallic dot works well up into a certain ball speed. Depending on how far you have from your ball to screen, you actually need to get 2 complete revolutions of the golf ball. If your distance is short and you have a really high ball speed, the ball isn't actually going to do its 2 revolutions for the Garmin R10 to then calculate the spin. There is a chart on the Garmin website. I'll put that on the screen now. And this chart basically tells you how far you need ball to screen depending on how quick the ball is traveling. And what I've found in my testing is using the metallic dots from my hitting location, I have about 10 feet ball to screen. The RCT ball with driver will pick up the spin. The metallic dots don't. That's a win for the RCT golf ball. Okay, so the reason I've chosen this short yardage to show off first is because I actually want to show one of the flaws using the RCT golf ball with the Garmin R10. And the flaw that I'm going to show is that in my experience, whenever you hit a pitching wedge or anything less, you don't get club data if the unit actually picks up on the spin on the RCT golf ball. It's really odd. I don't know why this is still happening. We haven't had an update on the Garmin R10 since they integrated the RCT golf balls, but for whatever reason, pitching wedge or below, I don't get club data. So I'll hit a couple of shots here and show you what I'm talking about. All right, not the best strike, and that'll probably come up short in the water. But let's have a look at the data. So looking at data fields, I've got my spin there, which has been calculated. So 9,500 spin, which is a good spin number for a gap wedge. However, with the spin rates, if you see an italicized number, that means the unit has estimated the spin. If you see a solid number, like you're seeing right now, that is where the unit has calculated the spin. All right, so 9,500. But look at this. If we go over to our ball impact view, I don't have my club metrics. And for whatever reason, I've just found that anything for me, pitching wedge or less, I don't get my club data. When I hit 9 iron and above, I get the calculated spin rates, and I also get the club data. This is only using the RCT golf ball. If I had a normal golf ball right now, I'll get the club data with my wedges. But for whatever reason, using an RCT golf ball, for me, I don't get club data with my wedges. Okay, let's hit one more shot to that flag. All right, a little bit left. And the graphics look pretty good. The one thing, the shot tracer line doesn't look great. I feel like the actual line itself, it kind of looks like just like a crayon line. It's not the best graphics, and I feel like they could improve that a little bit. All right, looking at the data, we'll jump in again to our data view. We've got calculated spin, and we have no club data. If we go to our ball flight, we've got no club data there on the bottom left. Okay, let's hit some 7 irons now. So I'll go over to this green here, which is 168 yards. And again, using the RCT golf balls, we'll just hit a couple of 7 irons. And not a bad strike. Just got to the green. We'll take that. Okay, let's look at the data now. So jumping in, we go to data fields. We've got a calculated spin of 6,150. And look at that, we now have club data. Okay, so in terms of data accuracy, how accurate is the Garmin R10? In my experience, if you get this thing aligned correctly, and I've got videos showing how to do that, the data you get is extremely accurate, especially using the third-party applications like Awesome Golf and GS Pro. Using the Garmin app, I find that all the metrics you get, like club path, face to path, all of that, they are calculated by the Garmin. However, they're calculated really, really well, and they're really accurate as long as you have the Garmin R10 aligned correctly. You can induce a lot of errors in these numbers if you don't have this thing perfectly aligned. I will say, using the Garmin Golf App, for me personally, and I've done videos on this comparing different applications, the carry distance in the Garmin Golf App, for me, it comes up short. And it's only by a few yards, it's not by much, but generally when I'm using the Awesome Golf App, I've compared the Awesome Golf App to my Foresight GC2, and they match like perfectly. So Awesome Golf has done a really good job on their algorithm for carry distance. And what I usually find when I compare the two apps is that the total distance in the Garmin Golf App is what the carry distance is in the Awesome Golf App. Okay, so that is the driving ranges. They're really good, and like I said, these are included even if you don't have the subscription. Another massive pro for the Garmin R10, like you just saw then, is you're gonna get that spin axis. Now it is estimated, but I've done videos on this comparing it to my other units. The spin axis with the irons is actually pretty accurate. When we go to driver, we do see the accuracy of it drop off slightly, and that's just due to the gear effect. I've explained this in other videos. Definitely go check those out. But the spin axis you get is actually pretty good. And Garmin has really refined this spin axis and this algorithm to a point where it's actually really, really good. Okay, let's talk about other pros. So I'm just gonna fire off some pros here for the Garmin R10. The biggest one for me is they haven't locked down the data. You can connect this thing to third-party applications like GS Pro. If you don't know what GS Pro is, definitely check out some of my other videos because it takes your Garmin R10 from being a fun toy at home to a full-blown simulator. It is incredible, and the price is also incredible. For what you get, GS Pro is fantastic. And I've already mentioned this, but I just want to say it again. there's no subscription fees for third-party applications. I can use E6 Connect, I can use Awesome Golf, I can use GS Pro, even without paying the subscription fee. They haven't locked down the ability to use third-party applications. Club data and ball data. You're getting accurate club data and you're getting pretty accurate ball data as well from this unit. Another big pro is the community. The community support for the Garmin R10 is unlike any other launch monitor. People have connected this thing up to GS Pro. There's a putting webcam within GS Pro that you can hook up. The community behind the Garmin R10 is amazing. The subscription fees. Now the subscription fees are pretty cheap and you can pay them monthly or you can pay them in full for the year. But it's good to have that monthly option because it does break up the fees and make it more manageable for a lot more people. Next, because the Garmin R10 has been out for 2 years, the algorithm has got so good. And this thing can pick up chip shots, it can pick up bump and runs, it can pick up flop shots. It doesn't really miss any shots anymore. And it's gotten so good that I can hit any chip shot without trying to do anything different and it'll pick it up. I have done a video on chipping and explained how the chipping works for the Garmin. Definitely check that out. But what this allows you to do is it allows you to play sim golf without worrying about short-sighting yourself. Because you can play sim golf, you can hit it to a foot off the green, but the pin could be tucked on that side and you've got to do a really short, delicate chip shot. The Garmin R10 will pick it up where other sub $1,000 launch monitors are going to struggle and you're going to have to end up hitting it past the hole and making a bogey and just getting annoyed. E6 integration, you get the 5 free courses and you get the practice facilities. I've used these a lot and I used these a lot before I got GS Pro. I don't really use them anymore, but you do get the E6 5 free courses and the practice facilities. Stable third-party applications. Like I said, you can connect to Awesome Golf, E6, GS Pro, and they're all stable. They're all really stable. You don't get any connection issues. They just work. RCT golf balls. These things are fantastic. They make a massive difference for your carry distance numbers because it's giving you calculated spin now indoors. I just want to stress though, one more time, it's not going to help with the spin axis. By using an RCT golf ball or a normal golf ball, the spin axis will be the same. They're not going to help with spin axis. They only help with backspin numbers. The biggest pro of this unit is it is the best sub $1,000 launch monitor for simulated golf at home, a simulated golf experience. And what I mean by that is connecting it up to GS Pro and playing golf with your friends at home and actually playing real golf courses at home. It is the best sub $1,000 launch monitor for that simulator experience. Okay, let's talk about the cons now. Let's fire off some cons. The biggest con of this unit is it's going to estimate the spin axis. Now, everyone, when they buy a launch monitor, they want to get accurate data. And when a launch monitor is going to estimate something like spin axis, it always throws doubt in the back of your mind. Like, hey, that felt like a draw, but I see the ball fading. And if you're trying to really work on your game and use this as a tool to work on your game indoors, it can definitely negatively train you. And like I said, I've done lots of videos on this. It's accurate most of the time, but it's always going to throw some doubt in there of, hey, did that estimate that correctly? Was that me or was that the unit? Another con of this unit is driver distance. Now, I've compared this unit to my Rapsodo. I've compared it to the Foresight GC2. The driver distance, the carry distance with driver, it always seems to come up short and it's consistently coming up about 10 yards carry short. Again, I've done lots of videos on this. Check those out. But driver distance tends to come up short using this unit. And finally, the last con of this unit is the Garmin Golf App. So the Garmin Golf App, as good as it has gotten, and you've got multiple driving ranges now, you've got 42,000 courses you can play, the graphics are pretty good. The biggest disappointment with the Garmin Golf App are the carry distances. And like I said, I've compared this to both my other units. The carry distances consistently seem to be short using the Garmin Golf App. You can overcome this by changing things like elevation and environmental settings. However, if you want to keep it true, and if you want to have a true experience where you set it at the elevation that you're at, or you set it at sea level, the distances do come up slightly short. There are workarounds for it, but it is definitely one of the cons. Okay, I just wanted to show this off before I move on to the Rapsodo MLM2PRO. So this is GS Pro, and this is the software that I use. I am connected to my Garmin R10. Again, because of that good community, we now have a connection from the Garmin R10 straight to our laptop. So the connection is very, very stable. Let's just jump in and have a look at what you get with GS Pro. And this is $200 a year, this subscription for GS Pro, so it's very affordable. The one thing is you do need a gaming laptop to be able to run this software. So if you only have iOS with the Garmin R10, I recommend using the awesome Golf App or E6 Connect and playing those 5 free courses and the driving ranges. However, if you have a laptop, you now have access to GS Pro. Like I said, this is a game changer. This takes you from having a bit of fun with your Garmin R10 at home to now having a full simulator in your house. You can play online matches, so you can play with anyone in the world as long as they have GS Pro and a Garmin R10 or any launch monitor. You can play with them online. You've got tournaments each week. If you hook up to the Simulator Golf Tour, you have tournaments each week that you can play in. With the Garmin R10, you have the Auto Putt Tour. The Auto Putt Tour is the biggest tour on GS Pro. The most people play in this tour. You have access to over 500 courses, and these courses are real courses. And you also got your practice facilities. Now, you've got driving ranges, you've got third-party driving ranges that people have made, you've got the standard driving range that you can use on GS Pro, and you can also go out to any golf course on GS Pro and you can just tee the ball up wherever you want, and you can hit shot after shot after shot. You can go out to the 17th at TPC Sawgrass and hit wedges on the green all day if you want. You can go out to the 19th hole at Paynes Valley and hit wedges onto the green all day. So we're going to jump in today, and I'm going to show you one of those courses. So to do that, we go to On-Course Practice. Like I said, I've got Show All Courses ticked. You've got so many courses to choose from, and I haven't downloaded all of these. New courses have been added all of the time. These are community-built courses. They are fantastic. So what we'll do today is we'll go and play a pretty famous hole. We'll play the Paynes Valley 19th hole. We'll jump in. You've got all of your course conditions that you can do, and we'll jump in and play Paynes Valley 19th. With the driving ranges as well, what the developers are doing now is actually building the driving ranges for the courses that they're uploading, so you can head to the range, hit some balls on the range at the actual golf course, and then go play. Okay, welcome out to Paynes Valley, the 19th hole. And how good does this look? I mean, it's incredible, and I'm so fortunate. I have a BenQ 4K laser projector, the LK936ST. It's a short throw projector. It is absolutely incredible, and I'm so fortunate because this hole on my projector, it looks insane. I mean, I've got a laptop that has a 2K screen, and compared to my projected image, the projected image looks way better than my laptop screen. So I'm very fortunate to have that, but how good do these courses look? I mean, this just looks so realistic. All right, let's hit a shot. And like I said, we're in practice mode, so I can hit shots on this hole all day. Okay, 120 yards, just gonna be a 3/4 pitching wedge. That's gonna be good. Oh, long, sit. Okay, first one in the water. Okay, let's try and take a little bit off it. That one's left. That's going to sit as well. Come on, sit. Okay, not bad. We're on the green. You get all your data there on the right-hand side. Okay, so I'm using a pitching wedge. So what you can see is my club path, face to path, all of that isn't there. You do get this, but because I'm using a pitching wedge, you're not going to see it. Let's hit a regular golf ball because I just want to show that you do get club data on GS Pro. Okay, that was just a regular Pro V1, and now you can see all of your club data there. So you do get club data, it's just using the RCT golf ball, you don't get it with your wedges. What we've got on the left-hand side there, we've got side spin, VLA, offline, we've got club angle of attack, we've got face to path, we've got club path, club speed, club face to target. All of that stuff is there for you to see. I know there was someone asking me, do you get descent angle? You do. On GS Pro, you do. With the R10, you've got negative 5.6 degrees down on the ball there. So that's GS Pro. I just wanted to show that off because it takes your R10 and turns it into a fully bona fide golf simulator in your house. Okay, so that is the Garmin R10. Let's now talk about the Rapsodo MLM2PRO. Again, we're going to go through the pros and cons, and then I'm going to give my final verdict. The reason I haven't done this video sooner is because I wanted to give the MLM2PRO a chance to get its software sorted out before doing this. It has had 3 major software updates, and so I feel like it's at a point now where I can do this video and give a valid opinion. So straight off the bat, the Rapsodo MLM2PRO was just plagued with connection issues. For me personally, they have been resolved within the Rapsodo app by using a direct connect between the unit and the iPad. And what I mean by that is there's 2 ways to connect the MLM2PRO. The first one is by using your home Wi-Fi. So you use your home Wi-Fi as a bridge. The MLM2PRO hooks up to your Wi-Fi, the iPad's on your Wi-Fi, and it sends the data over the Wi-Fi connection. I had nothing but issues doing it that way. The other way is you can actually get the Rapsodo MLM2PRO to put out its own Wi-Fi signal, and you connect your iPad to that Wi-Fi. And that's the way that I've found out works best for me personally. And a big issue with this device is that there's so many people having completely different issues with this device. Some people have connection issues doing it with the direct connect method. Other people have issues with the Wi-Fi method. It's just not consistent and standard across the board. Okay, so let's talk about pros with the MLM2PRO. The biggest standout feature and the biggest pro for this unit, and this is huge, the biggest pro for the Rapsodo MLM2PRO is accurate ball flight, spin axis, and spin indoors. And this is something that the Garmin R10 can't do. This was the biggest con with the Garmin R10. Now it's the biggest pro for the Rapsodo MLM2PRO. This device, again, is sub $1,000 in the US. For us Aussies, it's just slightly over $1,000 Australian. And what this unit can do is give you data that is pretty much identical to a GC quad, which is the standard, it's the gold standard of indoor launch monitors. It's $20,000 launch monitor. This one sub $1,000 launch monitor is giving you data that is as accurate as a GC quad. That is just incredible. And it's absolutely incredible that Rapsodo has been able to do that. However, you are going to pay for it, but we'll get into that later. So the biggest pro, accurate data. I mean, data that you can absolutely rely on, accurate shot shape, accurate spin axis, and accurate spin in an indoor environment. Another massive pro for this unit is you actually get 2 cameras on the unit, and one of them is a swing vision and the other one is an impact vision. They're actually using these cameras to capture the spin rates and capture the spin axis of the golf ball by using their proprietary dots on the golf ball. So they are using the shot vision camera to calculate all that stuff. However, they've also given you the opportunity to use that camera as well in the shot view. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show that off. I'm going to hit a 7-iron and then I'm going to show you those 2 shot vision cameras. So jumping into simulation, and again, this is the biggest issue with this unit. The connection issues. Okay, simulation, we'll jump into the Rapsodo range, net, RCT Ball, graphics high, and I'll just hit a 7-iron. Now, the other thing that I love about these cameras is it makes alignment really, really easy. As you can see on screen, you've got your alignment window there, you've got where the ball's going to be, and you've got a white line that you just put straight into where your ball's going to impact the screen, and you've got it perfectly aligned. It's very, very simple. Okay, so I've got my RCT ball in the hitting location. Let's just hit a 7-iron. Okay, not a bad strike. And again, we're getting accurate spin axis, a little draw. That felt like a draw. Good carry distance number there of 169. Good spin rates. So now what we can do is we can jump out of this session. We'll leave the session. We can navigate back to the home screen and we can go straight to the top. That was the shot that we just hit. we've got all the metrics there. If you want to get all of the shot metrics, just simply click and hold on that shot, and what'll happen is it'll pop up with all of the metrics of that shot. But what we're going to look at now is the shot vision and the impact vision. So if we jump into this camera, here is just the swing vision camera. So I mean, for low light, I'm using this thing I mean, the lighting's good enough for this unit, but it's not the bright, it's not like being outdoors. The actual shot itself, it is pretty good. It's probably not the best camera angle if you're trying to work on your swing, but at least you're getting a swing vision camera. Okay, now let's go and look at the shot vision, and this is probably one of the coolest things about this unit. So if you go onto the bottom right there, you can see an icon of the unit itself. We'll click on that, and then we'll select impact vision. And what you get is a really slow speed. It's 240 frames. And you can actually adjust how slow you want this to go as well. You can go video speed, 0.25, and we'll go play. And you can literally see the frames of your golf club as it impacts the ball and then goes through. You can see my mat just bouncing there. And that is really cool. You can go right to the moment of truth, impact. And like I said, I did hit that one pretty solid. So this is a really, really cool feature. And let's talk about connection and why the Rapsodo uses Wi-Fi and not Bluetooth. So to get this data transferred over from the Rapsodo MLM2PRO to your iPad as quick as it does, I literally hit that shot, jumped straight into this, and the videos were ready to go. To do that, to get that high speed data transfer, it needs to use Wi-Fi. It can't use Bluetooth because it would take 5 to 10 minutes for that video to actually transfer from the Rapsodo to the iPad. So that's one of the reasons why they use Wi-Fi for the connection. Okay, that is really cool. So that's one of the big pros of the Rapsodo MLM2PRO. Again, I'd love to see this pop up after you hit a shot. So if you could hit a shot and then you could have it just pop up on the screen and just show you the frames just before impact and through impact, I think that'd be a massive feature improvement. Then you could also look and you could visually see whether you did swing straight down the line or if you came over the top or into out. I think if that window just popped up and just showed you that video after you hit your shot, I think that'd be a massive improvement. Okay, other pros. So when you take this thing outside to the driving range, this is where the MLM2PRO shines. I mean, it is really good. And you get a shot tracer on all of your shots. And this shot tracer is actually really accurate. I've taken this thing to the range a few times now, and it did a shot tracer indoors just then, which I don't think it's meant to, but when you go outside, that shot tracer is awesome, and it's really cool to see on your videos. And finally, wrapping up the pros, you do have third-party access to applications. You've got Awesome Golf as a partner, and you also have E6 Connect as a partner. So you've got the option to connect up to E6, which you do get 5 free courses and the practice facilities on E6, and they are fantastic. And you also can connect up to Awesome Golf. Now, in my opinion, Awesome Golf for iOS is the best software. It's got a fantastic driving range, and the way they lay out their data is just better than any other app that I've used. To get to these courses, you just go into the simulation tab. Again, we've had a disconnect. So the connection issues are still there. The good thing is now is when it does disconnect, you can just quickly connect again instead of having to force close everything. So to get to the third-party applications, you simply go to the simulation tab, and then on the top there, you've got third-party applications, and you can see Awesome Golf and E6. Hopefully more partners are coming soon. I'd love to see Rapsodo partner with GS Pro. If they did that, that would be an absolute game changer. Okay, let's talk about the cons of the Rapsodo MLM2PRO, because there's going to be a few, so get your popcorn and sit back. So the biggest con of the MLM2PRO, you've seen it in this video already, the connection issues. Ever since this thing launched, it has been plagued with connectivity issues, not only in the Rapsodo application itself, but also in third-party applications. In E6, I I struggle to get it connected to E6 to actually play those courses. Awesome Golf for me personally has been really stable, and I don't understand why, because I have no issues with Awesome Golf. However, I can't connect to E6. Other people can connect to E6 but can't connect to Awesome Golf. It just doesn't make sense. And then you've got other people who swear they've never had any connection issues ever. And I struggle to believe that. But some people swear, they say they've never had connection issues with the MLM2PRO. For me, I've read the Facebook comments, I've had my own personal experiences. I get a lot of connection issues. You've seen it in this video already. That needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed, and it needs to be squashed once and for all. Because if it isn't, you end up spending half your time trying to connect this thing and you don't get to hit any golf balls. You can't have that with a device that's $1,000 or you know, just under $1,000. This thing needs to work. People are paying a lot of money. There's been multiple updates now. This thing needs to work. The other thing is the way it connects. You have to go through and jump through hoops and select which connection method, and it should just remember. So with the Garmin R10, I turn it on, open the app, it's already connected. It's remembered, it's gone through its connection, it's done. With the MLM2PRO, you have to select the device, select which method, you know, do all these steps. And it takes 5 minutes to get this thing connected. It should just be, turn it on, open the app, and it should remember exactly how it connected before. You should be able to save it as a default, and it should just connect without you doing anything. And that brings me on to the application itself. So the application itself needs a lot of work. I mean, one of the biggest things this application needs is, it's so simple, a landscape mode. I mean, it just blows my mind that in 2023, an application can come out without a landscape mode. I don't get it. I'm not a software developer, but I can't imagine that a landscape mode is that hard of a thing to do. Maybe it is, but to me, I'm just going, I just don't know why we don't have landscape mode. Okay, true to itself, I've had another disconnect. So I'll get this thing connected, and potentially it's because I'm not hitting any golf balls. Okay, we're back connected. So like I was saying, landscape mode. It's not hard. Oh, I assume it's not hard. Please get a landscape mode. Jumping into simulation, we'll go to the range real quick, and I just showed this off before, but you've got two graphics qualities. Okay, we've had another disconnect. I'll try to reconnect. It's connected, cool. Going in, your graphics quality you can put as high, continue. And now the driving range, funnily enough, has a landscape mode. So I don't know why the courses aren't landscape, but the driving range has a landscape mode. This driving range, to me, it's a bit odd. Like it kind of looks like they've tried to make it look like a hole, and you've got this road in front of you. It just doesn't really make sense. If they just went with a basic driving range, like the Garmin R10 has just its flat grid, essentially, it's just a long drive grid. If they'd have done that, it would have made more sense. To me, this driving range is just odd. So I think this part of the software needs a massive refurb. They don't even have to do multiple driving ranges at first. Even if they just give us a standard driving range that's flat with a grid, and give us a few different camera angles, I guess, to look at. So that's the driving range. So let's talk about the Rapsodo courses. So you do have access to over 30,000 golf courses. However, I've done videos on these as well. The courses are just bad. And I'll jump in and show you one of them now. I'll go to my old club when I used to live in America, the club at Falcon Point, and we'll jump in and play with the black tees. Okay, we've got high graphics quality. Now, the funny thing about this is, we don't get a landscape mode. So we got a landscape mode in the driving range, but the Rapsodo Courses doesn't have a landscape mode. Now, the other thing you'll notice is everything's just flat. It's as flat as a pancake. You're not seeing any undulation, which is really odd because there is one course on here that shows undulation, but it doesn't really tell us if it's taking that undulation into account. So yeah, the Rapsodo courses need a lot of work because they don't feel like a golf course, and it's just bad execution. At least give us a landscape view. The final thing I want to touch on with the Rapsodo courses is the physics. The golf ball physics are just bad. I've shown videos on this. The golf ball doesn't react like a golf ball would react in real life. When you hit a shot, the ball will just hit and then bounce forward really quick, about 8 or 10 yards. And that's the same for every single club in your bag. With the Garmin R10, even on the Garmin courses, the ball will bounce on the green and then spin if you're hitting a wedge, or if you're hitting a 4-iron, it'll bounce on the green and roll forward. The physics are just better in the Garmin Golf App than the Rapsodo Golf App. Looking at the rest of the app, so you've got practice and combines. The combines I've done a video on, it was having issues. I believe they've fixed those issues now. The combines is actually pretty cool. So what the combines will let you do is it'll basically be like a skills challenge, and it'll assess your game and it'll tell you, you know, what you need to improve. You can go in there, you've got custom distances that you can set your own distances or recommended distances. When you've used this device for a long time, it'll actually learn your golf game and it'll pick up where you are bad. So say if you struggle on 130-yard shots and, you know, 200-yard shots, once it learns your game, it will then recommend those distances in the recommended distances. Because I haven't used it a lot, it's not going to do that for me. But what you can do is you can jump in and you can actually create custom distances, and you're going to hit 8 shots to each one of your targets, and then you're going to hit 8 drives. From there, it's going to spit out a report of that, and it'll give you a handicap from those distances and also from your driver. So it's basically a tool that you can use to improve your game or track your game over a period of time. The other option you have is practice, and this is what you're going to use on the range. You've got net or range options, and you can jump in and have a look. And this is basically the overview you're going to get. The funny thing about this one is we do have a landscape mode view. So there we go, we've jumped into landscape and you can see everything there. The cool thing about this is it will give you your swing vision after each shot. So I'll jump in and hit a 7-iron. Okay, so what you're going to get is all your metrics pop up and then the app will crash. And I mean, this is the issue that I have with this device. It's just, the software's just not there. All right, so I'll jump back in, I'll connect up and try and do that again. Okay, I am connected again. Let's go back into landscape view. And let's hit a shot. And we've had another disconnect. And so this is the biggest issue with this device. I've said it multiple times. It looks like it's connected itself up again, but the disconnection issues are just, they just are killing me. Okay, let's try and hit one shot. Okay, not the best strike, but hopefully it gives us a shot. And no, it missed that one. Okay, better strike. No, it missed that one again. So I guess now it's a good time to mention as well. Another con is the missed shots. Compared to the Garmin R10, this unit misses a lot more shots. I mean, just then I've tried to hit 2 shots, they've both missed. We'll go for a 3rd shot now. Okay, it picked up a shot. Cool. All right, so let's look at what we get. We get all of our metrics pop up there on the screen. You also get a video of your last swing, which is actually really cool. I love seeing that. The one thing I do wish that it did was, I wish that it gave you the ability to switch to the impact vision camera and you could see a replay of the impact vision camera versus your swing vision camera. The reason I think you can't do this is because the impact vision camera the file size is going to be a lot bigger, and so it's going to take more time for that data to transfer from the MLM2PRO to your iPad. So I think that's why that isn't an option at this time. But what you get is you can go in there and review your shot. You're going to get on the right hand side there, all of your data there. You're going to get averages at the top. And then if you go on the right hand side, you can change your view. So you can go to your 2D view and then also your metrics view if you want to just have the metrics of your last shot on screen. Okay, so that's the practice tab. It is pretty good and it is good to use on the driving range. Another big con of the MLM2PRO is the yearly subscription fees. So it's $200 US for the subscription fee for the MLM2PRO. Let's talk about what you get with this subscription. So looking at this page, what you get with the subscription are the combines and the simulations tab. Without the subscription, you have access to the practice tab up the top, but what you get is limited. You get limited data storage for swings. However, you do have access to the practice tab at the top without a subscription. On top of that, you're not going to have spin access or the ability to use the RPT golf ball. So pretty much the only reason you would get this thing and not subscribe is if you're exclusively going to just take this to the driving range. And even then, you're going to be very limited because you're going to have limited data storage. So they're almost forcing you to buy the subscription, because if you don't have the yearly subscription, which is $200 US, I believe it's $300 in Australia, without that subscription, you don't have access to the simulation tab or metrics. So that they're taking away spin axis, which is the biggest selling point of the Rapsodo MLM2PRO, without the subscription. Also, without the subscription, it's had another disconnect. And the reason I'm leaving these disconnects in the video is because I want to give you a real review. This is a real experience of what it is like to use this unit. I could edit these out, but then I'm going to give you an unrealistic expectation of what it's like to use this unit. I want to show you that it is quite frustrating having all these disconnects all the time. Okay, so jumping into the simulation tab, you're not going to have access to the Rapsodo range. You're not going to have access to the Rapsodo courses. You're also not going to have access to third-party applications. So without the subscription cost, $200 a year US, you're not going to have access to third-party applications. Unlike the Garmin R10, where you do have that, without the subscription, you're not going to have access to these. So that's a massive, massive con. So without subscription, they're taking away some of the metrics that you're going to get, very important metrics, and also they're taking away third-party application access and also your simulation and combines. So without the subscription, I'm not going to say it's a paperweight because you can still use it at the range, but they're extremely limiting what you get to the point where there's not really any point of having it. Okay, let's talk about another con. To get spin axis and backspin numbers, you need to use an RPT ball. So in the box with the MLM2PRO, you do get 3 of these RPT balls. They're Callaway balls. They are the proprietary balls with the dots on them. The dots are in a specific sequence. These are ChromeSoft X golf balls. So you're kind of forced to use a Callaway ChromeSoft X golf ball. And without this golf ball, you're not going to get spin axis or spin numbers. If you use the premium option in the application, I've shown this in videos before, whatever your launch direction is, the golf ball just goes dead straight. So there's effectively no point in doing that because it's going to give negative practice and it's going to be even worse than the Garmin's estimated spin axis. The cost of these things, the cost of the RPT golf balls in Australia is ridiculous. I can get 2 boxes of Pro V1s and have some change left over for the cost of 1 box of these RPT golf balls. So of course, the community has come through and there's been people making these black dots that you can actually put on your golf balls. I will have a separate video on these, but if you want to check them out, rapsodoballdotz.com. Sean, he started this company in Australia. He's making these dots and they are absolutely fantastic. They work. So if you don't buy these golf balls or you don't have some dots that you can put on your golf balls, you're not going to get spin axis. There isn't an algorithm like the Garmin that'll give you an estimated spin axis. Like I said, it'll just take the horizontal launch angle and just go dead straight. Okay, and finally, the last con with the MLM2PRO is chipping. Now we've had 3 updates. The chipping is just, in my opinion, for simulated golf is not usable. You're going to get in situations where you're going to short side yourself. You're going to have to hit a short chip shot and the MLM2PRO just doesn't register these standard chip shots. I've done videos on this comparing the MLM2PRO to the Garmin, and the chipping on the Garmin is far superior than the Rapsodo MLM2PRO. Hopefully this can be fixed in an update. I'm sure they can fix this in an update because they've got cameras and they've also got the radar that can work together. I'm sure this will get fixed in an update, but at this point in time, the chipping is not usable for simulated golf. Okay, so with all that being said, do I recommend buying the Garmin R10 or the Rapsodo MLM2PRO? The answer is not going to be simple. The answer is going to be It depends on what you want to get out of a launch monitor. A lot of the cons of the MLM2PRO can be fixed with updates, and I'm hoping they can be fixed. If you want a launch monitor that's going to give you incredibly accurate data, data that you can trust, data that you can say, the golf ball 100% curved that way, the golf ball 100% went that distance, there's no question, it's the MLM2PRO. If you want a launch monitor that's going to give you accurate ball flight indoors, the MLM2PRO is the launch monitor you want to get. However, I'm talking about full shots. If you want to work on your game inside, just on a basic driving range and just hit shots after shot, working on your game, working on your swing, you can't beat the MLM2PRO under $1,000. It is insanely accurate. There's been a lot of tests comparing it to the GC Quad. This thing, the data you get out of it when it actually works is insanely accurate. However, I don't recommend getting that unit if you want to play simulated golf indoors. I only recommend that unit if you just want to work on full swings. Okay, so let's talk about the person who would benefit from the Garmin R10 now. So if you're the kind of person who wants to have a simulator at home and you want a simulator experience for under $1,000, the Garmin R10 is absolutely killing it. No subscription fees. You can hook up to GS Pro. The data you get from it is incredibly accurate. You are going to have shots where the spin axis is wrong. That's the thing you've got to be aware of with the Garmin. It's not going to be as accurate ball flight wise as the Rapsodo MLM2PRO. If you're after a device sub $1,000 that gives you an in-home simulator experience, you're going to have people come over and play. You can't beat the Garmin R10. It is incredible. It changed the game when it first came out. It's still changing the game now. From chipping all the way through to driver, this thing is excellent for simulator golf. So I guess that's the wrap up. If you're after a device where you just want to hit shots and practice, MLM2PRO. If you want a device where you're going to play simulator golf and then maybe do a bit of swing work as well, your device that you want to get is the Garmin R10. All right, guys, that was a long video. If you like that, please let me know. And also, I will just say, please subscribe to the channel. I have looked at the analytics. 80% of the people that watch my videos don't actually subscribe. So if you could subscribe, that would help me out big time. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, let me know. You got any comments or questions, let me know down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.